iRadical, we build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
Welcome everyone to Podium Esports and coverage of the BiS Radical Cup Canada Series. Wednesday means race day for Britannia iSports. Today we are back in the open cockpit prototype racers to bounce around a well-known Central Florida racetrack, Sebring. Not only will Podium Esports be bringing you the live action of the BiS Radical Cup Canada Series, but on alternating Wednesdays, get ready for even more Britannia iSports racing with the F1600 series. If you are into either open wheelers or prototypes, BiS and Podium Esports have got you covered with some great racing action. I'm Joey Atterbury, and joining me in the booth tonight is Michael Johnson, and we've got DJ Lyon behind the scenes taking requests, working the controls as our producer. And tonight, none of this would be possible without some very important partners. Radical Canada, also M-Zone, Fell Motorsports, Advanced Sim Racing and Advanced Motorsports, and Turn 1 Sim Racing. Michael, this is just the second round of an 8-race championship. We started at the home track of Mosport, but now, as they say it, we are wintering in Florida. Where else are we headed to this season?
Well, this is quite a season. It is bookended by 2 rounds at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, most commonly known by racers like you and I as Mosport. This week, of course, we are at Sebring, but we're going to cross the pond for round 3, going to Donington National. Right after that, round 4 is going to be my home track, or my current home track, I should say, COTA, Circuit of the Americas, right here in Austin, Texas. Following that, just heading out real quick trip to California, Laguna Seca, the previous best track in the world for me. Well, that was until I drove this little one you may have heard of in Belgium. But you know, that one's not on the list. But we are going to Road Atlanta. Now, Road Atlanta, that was my home track as I was cutting my teeth as a teenager. I love that track. You're going to see some fantastic racing there. Then off to Watkins Glen, just one of those iconic tracks that everybody recognizes every corner there. And like I said, round 8, finishing up that bookend, or the other half of it, is going to be, once again, Mosport.
Before we get to any of those other ones, but we've got to get to Sebring, bounce around this Central Florida racetrack. It is incredibly well known if you follow any sort of endurance road racing, especially here in North America. 17 turns, 3.74 miles in length, and as you can see, it is on an old retired airbase. This concrete, it is broken, it has cracks everywhere in it. You really have to attack this racetrack. A couple of key points: turn 1, always the biggest and best passing opportunity on the racetrack. Also, some other big ones that we're going to be talking about today, pretty much always turn 17, the final turn here at Sebring, also known as Sunset Bend. There is some huge bumps throughout there. These drivers in these little Radical cars, they are going to have to hang on and really throw the car into these corners and just kind of deal with the bumps as they come. And speaking of those bumps, we're going to be dealing with a few of them here, Michael. We got 2 races we're going to be covering.
Yeah, we're going to start out right now. We are in qualifying, just a 20-minute open qualifying session. So watch for people trying to tuck in behind a teammate or maybe not a teammate and get a little draft to get them going a little bit quicker. Then it'll be race 1, which is a 15-minute sprint race. After that, it's going to be a 5-minute break, followed by the 30-minute race, which is our feature race. There will be a pit stop. And also, as I understand, the top 10 are going to have a reverse grid. So if you win that 15-minute race, that sprint race, well, you're going to be in 10th place for the second race. Not a bad place to be because the excitement that tends to happen in turn 1 could suddenly launch you back up to the front. Now, race details, we've got 2 classes here. There's the pro class, which means you've got a 3,000 rating or better. Now, for the AM class, you have a cap of a 3,800 rating. Now that might seem a little odd, but I know 3,800 people, 3,400 people who would much rather be and are more appropriately classed in the AM. It's just where you feel comfortable. So the next really salient point here, fixed setups. You're not going to see differences. You're not going to see someone with a low wing angle, someone else with a high wing angle. It's all the same. Everyone's driving the same car. How well do you drive this setup? Also, this is a rolling start race. No standing start here. Going to come around that turn 17, bumping all the way through it, waiting for that flag to drop, and then boom, they are off. Now, there is no spare car if these guys get into a little bit of a wall situation. So it's going to be very, very important to make sure that you are in complete control of this car. Speaking of controlling the car, incident points. If you get 20, well, that's going to be a penalty. 30 of those, well, now you're at the DQ range.
Gonna have to be careful about it. And from the practice, I've been seeing plenty of some extracurricular activities. Now, you said this was a fixed setup, but the one difference that we are really seeing here today was that pro designation. All of the same Radical SR10 cars are going to be on the racetrack, but how you tell the difference in that iRating, the yellow designation primarily on the splitter and the wing versus the red designation on the AM color. So all of the cars are the same. All of the performance levels are the same. It is just up to the driver's skill rating, their iRating, and then those color differences on the cars to help us kind of draw the cues on where exactly they are in the running order. And speaking of the running order, we already had one race here for this championship. This is the team championship point standing currently. Race Sim Canada, 51 points, and actually a pretty commanding lead after just one round. 13 points ahead of Intrace Britannia iSports. CC Motorsports there in the 3rd place position, and then as you see, just 1 point really separating some of these teams throughout the entire top 15. And Michael, you've been around racing as long as I have. You know that a championship, it's not done on round 1, but you got to get it done through all 8 of the races that you were talking about.
It's all about consistency, Joey. You and I know this more than some people. Hey, I can tell you, if I'm not consistent, I don't feel at home in the race car. It matters in this team competition as well. You really have to make sure that you are bringing the numbers home every single week. So it's important to stay on the track, keep that car moving. And it's also why you may see maybe someone spun, there may be a lap down, they had some sort of incident, but they're back out there on the track trying to garner as many points as they can, because in the end, every single point absolutely matters.
Well, in the end, all of those points that you accrue that Michael was just talking about, you can potentially get the radical experience, the thrill of a lifetime. You get to experience a genuine, real radical race car, courtesy of Robert Burgess of Radical Canada. This is the prize that's awarded to both of the class champions, Pro and AM. So that team's championship, that driver's championship, all of those points that we were just talking about, you have to claw at them, gather them all up for your chance to actually be in one of these awesome radical race cars. Live out your dream of being a real racing car driver. Be part of the action. Scan the QR code right here to join the Discord, Britannia iSports. Come and get in on all of the racing we have here on iRacing, between the Radical Cup series, the F1600 series, and all of the other fun we have here on Podium Esports. And looks like we've got some racing action going on the track right now, albeit qualifying. Looks like things are winding down right now. Almeida, your current provisional pole sitter, Logan Pasca, second place right now. But Michael, we've done this whole qualifying session. I see 40 cars out there. We have packed the house.
Yeah, it is quite a packed house. Now, this is one of the few tracks where I feel comfortable having that many cars. And when you look at the length of the track, there's a lot to be done here, but I am so used to being on this track with 3 to 4 classes of cars, and I've never felt like it was overpacked. There's something about the way this track flows that just gives it that beautiful feel, like you're not jammed up. Well, maybe lap 1, turn 1. But beyond that, well, let's go all the way to turn 5 on that one, because I can think of a few stories. I'm sure you can too. But once you come out of there, things really start to open up and get into this relaxed mode. But you can't get too relaxed, because this track will bite you hard.
It will bite you in every single corner if you are not paying attention. And I mentioned you really have to attack this place. And attacking it is about what all of these competitors are going to do, because we've got our official starting grid. Suelo Alameda, your pole sitter, Logan Pasca, going to be joining him on the front row. Stephen Jeffrey in third place. Ozzy Milwayne going to be lined up in fourth. Kenny Reedman is going to be starting fifth. Caven Norris in sixth. Joey Haynes in seventh. Timothy Salvatore in eighth. Curtis James in ninth, and Arnaud Genest in 10th.
Looking at P11, it's going to be Andrew Hardman. In P12, it's going to be Mark Harris. Behind them on the next row, Scott Beddard and Zach Buchanan, followed by Micah Dern. And John, I always mispronounce your name. Please let me know the right way to say it, but I'm going to say Ben Willett. Okay, I will get it next time, I promise. Next row back, we've got Jake Cowden and Chris Stiles, followed by Dave Peterson and Matthew Howard.
Then in 21st, we have Diego Zuccarelli. Nick Horvath lined up in 22nd. Saad Nakatembev in 23rd. Cedric Ohayon in 24th. Joseph Yang is going to be lined up in 25th. Michael Broomhead in 26th. Kenny Brown, 27th. Richard Swindles in 28th, Nathan Medina 29th, and Caden Goodridge rounding out the top 30.
P31, Eric Harmon. Right alongside him, Sean Duhamel, or is it Duhamel? I think it's Duhamel. And then next row, we've got Robert Covey and Mark Boyd, James Carter, and Donate Kispe. Followed by our one of our favorite people, Zippy Salmon, and then Shane Morrison right next to him. Then we've got Shane Morrison, Phil Amaro, Matthew Melman, and then looks like 41 Eugene Cartini.
Yeah, I think that is all 41 cars that we've got lined up here today. Saw that Harlan Goldburn was earlier in the session, but not in there right now. And we have the shortened pace lap, so we're going to get right to the racing action here. Already coming around turn 17. It's all up to the number 10 car, and then a huge jump already from the leader. That's actually going to be the number 10 car already. Whole shop of 40 cars streaming down towards turn number 1. The top 10 side by side, only single file from our leader. A huge pack as we now stream down into turn 3 for the first time. Hard on the brakes. You gotta be really careful about these tire temperatures, and now we feed through the 3, 4, 5 complex. Stand on that gas, squirm those rear tires.
It gets a little crazy here in the first couple of laps. From what we understand, it takes about 3 laps for these tires to come to temperature on these cars and start getting some really good grip. But that's not going to keep people from trying to make the move, especially right down here into, well, a couple of names. I often call it Hotel Corner, but most people call it actually, I forgot the other name. What's the other name, Joey?
Well, I'm sorry, I was watching timing and scoring over here as we're kind of streaming through, what is this, turn 10 and 11 right here. But I believe it's a Chateau Elan over there.
Oh, yes. And also hairpin. It's called hairpin sometimes, too. So heading on up towards Cunningham and Collier at that point around the tower turn. We got our leaders coming in through Jean de Bien and making their way towards the iconic Le Mans corner to head up that back straight.
And I know on timing and scoring right now, it says that Harlan Goulburn is in first place, but trust me, folks, he is not actually on the racetrack right now. It is the number 10. That's Almeida, your race leader. In the second place position. Stephen Jeffrey will be in the third place as we go down the back straightaway, very first lap out. And it's actually pretty impressive what our leaders, our two leaders, have been able to do. They've stretched it out over the rest of the field just a little bit. I see third place kind of lingering there in the distance, so it really is a 1, 2, 3 car breakaway for the front.
Yeah, they're trying to pull this, they call it in cycling a peloton, getting out front there. Now, that third place car, that's kind of where I would want to be right here. Although, I have got to tell you, I have tried a race against Suelio, and that never goes well. He is just so fast. It's like you see him for the first lap and then he's gone. I got to say, this is incredibly impressive for Chris Stiles here. Sorry, we're back on with Chris Stiles, but it's very impressive for our P3, Stephen Jeffrey, to be able to hold on to these guys. Anyone who can stick with Suelio, good job.
Well, and I apologize. I think both Michael and I are just keeping up with the action as we're side by side for the race lead. Almeida put a really nice blocking attempt on Paxa. Logan had a tremendous run going down into turn number 7, but now it is the blue car flashing the lights. That's Stefan Jeffrey in the third place position, up and around what is turn number 10, feed through turn number 11 and over into the tower turn, turn 13. You always have to drive this thing really carefully, but if you don't get the nose tucked in, you are in trouble.
Yeah, now Suelio's getting beautiful launches off of these corners. He is just putting the power down absolutely precisely, perfectly, no mistakes in there, which he's got to do if he wants to hold on to this lead, because the draft is showing to be so powerful. If we yeah, there we go. So if we take a look at this right here, this angle, you're going to watch how that gap just closes up little by little by little. And about now is when it's going to really start to accelerate. See how he's coming closer and closer and closer. That is all draft right there. That's not Suelio putting on the brakes. That is the draft actually making a huge difference in these cars' performance.
Logan Paxa using all of that draft as we check in a little bit further back in the pack. This is a fantastic battle. I believe this is for the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th place position here. You could pretty much point at any one of these cars and say, hey, they are going to make a pass right now. But this is Zach Buchanan in that teal and yellow car. Right in front of Zach, Timothy Salvatore, Andrew Hardman, Curtis James also involved in this one, Mark Harris. It gets to be busy here at Sebring. Michael, you've got plenty of laps around this place. You know how low grip it is when you are stuck in these packs like this. It is so important to limit your own mistakes. Sebring, you have to attack the track. I mentioned it. You can't overstep it.
I remember one time doing some testing out here with Irish Mike's Racing. Came out, was having a blast, and one lap I decided to see how many different track surfaces I could count. Now, I was also trying to drive fast, so it was a little hard to catch them all, and I had to go back another couple of laps, but I never actually was able to count that. Granted, I have only 10 fingers, and counting much higher than that can be challenging at times. So I'm not sure exactly how many different track surfaces we have, but you feel completely different no matter where you are. As we watch the pass for the lead, cuts up the inside coming into, I believe we're at Tower. Looks like it is a lead change. Nope, not quite. Wasn't able to make it stick. The number 10 Suelio Almeida is able to stick it out front. Now we're going to watch the draft down that straightaway. This is getting close. Something's going to happen here, and we've got a fourth car. So it was a 3-car battle. Now it looks like a 4-way battle to stick up the front there.
Yeah, they've been battling so much that Ozzy Milwayne actually was the big gainer in there. Now he slips back to fourth, and it's Suelio Almeida back to the lead after losing it down the back straightaway. It's Logan Paxa in the white car, Suelio in the black car on the inside, side by side into turn number one. Looks like Almeida's going to win this battle, but I think one of the cool parts about this format, we touched that we are going to see two different races today. The 15-minute sprint that we are in right now, plus the 30-minute. This sprint race, it is all elbows out. You see the driver's aggression, the driver's urgency to get any one of these passes done however they can as quickly as possible.
Yeah, now once again, we are 2 by 2. Little Noah's Ark heading into the hotel corner, putting the power down. They kind of get it straightened out on that second row, but the first row, there is still overlap. This is a rough battle. You're going to see some paint going from one car to the other anytime now. Now that second row, once again, coming back 2 by 2, holding on to position, braking a little bit early, don't want to get it, but did a little squiggly out of the corner coming there. That was... looks like, yeah, they were coming out of Cunningham, or no, that was Collier.
Now we go through the tower turn. Paxa once again with a tremendous run. Now, this battling, this side-by-side is great to watch, but really look at what it has done to everybody behind. Not only is Stephen Jeffrey in there, Ozzy Milwayne, who we had just mentioned last lap, but one lap added, we have added Kenny Reedman, Caven Norris, and Arnaud Genest is also in this. Consider it a 7-car lead breakaway right now. So when you battle side by side, we love to see it. I love to see it, but it definitely slows things down. It allows everybody behind to really come up and catch you again. And we see Logan Paxa went into turn 17 in the lead, but Almeida with a power move around the outside. This is just nonstop.
Yeah, little Buffalo Gal's going around there, but looks like trying to go 3 wide into turn 1. Cuts up under the backside. Oh, we have a change of position. P2. Now Stephen Jeffrey moves up into second place. Beautiful move up the inside, trying to block off that inside as we go to turn 3, coming through 4, bringing it back around to 5. We have a 2-wide situation in the P4, P5. Little nudge from P6 on those guys. Now it's power down and heading off towards the hotel corner.
And you see just how much time they lost, and we're side by side. Stephen Jeffrey is actually the one making the move on Almeida now. See what he can do, but I gotta say, Almeida just, oh, there's a big wiggle, and Stephen Jeffrey gets turned around all by himself. We haven't mentioned it, but the power in these cars, they can definitely catch you out, and if you're not careful with that right foot of yours, you can spin up those rear tires, especially exiting those very slow corners like turn 7.
Logan Paxa has got to be breathing a sigh of relief as he watched that happen in front of him. It was there. We got the first wiggle, second wiggle, third one. He's on around, but that puts Logan Paxa back into second place where he really would rather be, and not to have that purple car kind of messing with his view of that P1.
Well, what that has done is given just a little tiny bit of breathing room to the number 10 car, Almeida, up front, as well as Paxa giving chase here in this black car. So that is Almeida, number 10, your leader. Logan Paxa in the number 64, your second place. And you see Logan just once again hounding the back of our leader, trying to find any way that's possible to get around. And we were talking, it is fixed setups here in the Radical Cup Series. You can't tune the car, so everybody's on that same exact equipment. With these open cockpits, that draft effect is so much. If you feel like you can run away, it almost seems like there's a magnet attached to the back end of your car. You just can't ditch somebody.
It's really tough because the straightaways here are so long effectively. So we went through 3 here. Here's 4 coming up into 5. From here, this is effectively a straightaway all the way down to the hairpin. Now, I always have a hard time calling it the hairpin because it doesn't actually come all the way back on itself, which is probably why I always call it hotel. But look at that. Got that little bit of draft coming out, but Almeida's able to cover that inside, hold on to it, still got his foot down. Now, as you were mentioning earlier, as we watched that replay, putting the foot down a little bit too hard will catch you out. I think this is where Almeida's got some gold. That foot is just absolutely precise on that throttle pedal, not to take anything away from Paxa, who has just squeaked into first place. But as we go into Collier here around the left-hander, it looks like, yep, Almeida's going to be able to take the lead once again, taking that pro line up through there into the tower turn. Watch as he puts power down now. Is he able to pull away? No, looks like he got a little bit wide, maybe a little bit of dirt out there, and I think we might see Paxa try to make a really bold move here as we come into Gendibien.
Through turn 15, bend it around to turn 16 now. Logan Paxa with the lead, but perfectly executed from Almeida on the over-under. You saw Paxa just really run it way wide through turn 16 there. And let me tell you, from personal experience, turn 16 is a very, very finicky corner. You pretty much come over this tiny little crest as well as off camber. All the sand seems to just kind of build out there, and there is no grip whatsoever as we get this awesome Podium Esports replay. The number 230 car coming out of that same corner, turn 16. That's Asad Nikadambev. I'm not sure if there was any contact there with the car behind. I was just mentioning how low grip it is around that place. I mean, you can be given 10% throttle and spin the wheels up coming out of there.
Yeah, it's such a low downforce setup that you're going to use at a track like this because of those long straightaways. And I tend to like to go for a little closer to medium. I want a little bit of wing in there, just kind of as a safety or as a security blanket, as it were. But looking back at our front two, it is the same battle we have seen lap after lap, and a little bit sideways. They go door to door. Well, I guess if they had doors on these, but mirror to mirror, shall we say.
Body panel to body panel, expensive carbon bits to expensive carbon bits, and now we are potentially 3 wide as the side-by-side has rejoined Ozzy Mill, Wayne and company. Caven Norris as well as Arnaud is in there in the top 5. Kenny Reedman still in that 6 train battle up here for the front, and folks, 15 minutes goes by really, really fast. We are going to be coming to the white flag this time around, so if you thought things were getting exciting, if you thought 6 cars up here could take the win, well, here we go. Logan Paxa to the inside, trying to get that track position. Elbow Almeida out of the way through turn 16, but he once again leaves a room. Watch for Mill Wayne, 3 wide down the front straightaway, and Michael, watch out for 4 wide as Caven Norris enters the party.
Caven has got a really good position here, but coming into turn 17, it might be the 17th turn on the track, but I call it 17 because there's 17 ways in, 17 ways out. They are all correct. Just pick which one you want. And it looks like Caven is going to do pretty well out of that, up into P2, while Ozzy Milwain takes P1.
And I think what you have to watch out for is Barney waves the white flag. 1 lap remaining in the 15-minute sprint race. Can Almeida claw his way back up, or is Logan Paxa just going to be that annoying fly at the barbecue that's not going to allow him up? And now we've got a lockup from the second place runner, Caven Norris. That really chokes up Almeida. That allows Ozzy Milwain to run away. And once again, Caven Norris with a little bit of a slip up exiting turn 5. That chokes everybody up, allowing Ozzy Milwain to run away. It's going to be the familiar Paxa versus Almeida side by side, albeit for second place now.
Yeah, now as Almeida came around, he did the really smart thing. He tucked back over to the right, gave a little bit of draft to Caven Norris, so he would block off effectively the pass that Logan Paxa was going to try to make there. Now Logan Paxa trying to come back up. He is once again side by side with Caven Norris, takes that place back. Ozzy Milwain still out front with just over a second lead over Suelio Almeida. Almeida is trying to close this up, but that is a huge ask in such a short time left in this race.
We're going to see if Almeida can pull off a miracle here in this black and red Texaco themed car. He only has a couple sets of corners to do it. Here is the important 15 and turn 16 leading out onto the back straightaway. Really, this sprint race has all been the number 10 car, Suelio as well as Logan Paxa, but it's Ozzie Milwayne that took advantage of the pack racing. He only has one turn left remaining, turn 17, Sunset Bend. He goes in nice and easy on the brakes. All he's got to do is feed the throttle. He sees Barney with the checkered flag. The number 14 car, Ozzie Milwayne, your first winner of the night.
Wow, and what a stylish win he got. Took advantage of some really crazy situations and then just put the car in the right place at the right time. Now remember, it's going to put him in P10 for the start of the next race. So last race he started P4. It's going to be a little bit more of a battle for him to work his way up there, but we're going to watch right here John Benoit. He's trying to come around. Can he hold on to the draft and get up to the inside? I don't know if he's going to be able to make it here. Trying to look, and no, but he does close up just a bit. Wow, that was a tight finish there.
Joseph Yang was only 7/100ths of a second behind. John Benwillid was only 9/100ths of a second behind. Those were the positions for 23rd and 25th, so it doesn't matter if we were up front or all the way at the back. Some intense racing, and we're going to get your official results for your 15-minute sprint race right here on the screen. Was Ozzie Milwayne your winner? Suelio Almeida, second place. Logan Paxa, third place. Kevin Norris, fourth. Arnaud Genest in fifth. Kenny Reedman, sixth. Zach Buchanan, seventh. Andrew Hardman, eighth. Timothy Salvatore, ninth, and Curtis James in the 10th place position. That is going to be your top 10 grid invert for the second race. And what we're actually going to do right now is take a quick break, be right back with the official 30-minute feature race and more green flag action.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. and our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Why radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
We just had 15 minutes of non-stop passing at the front here at Sebring International Raceway for the Radical Cup Canada Series. I can't wait to see what the 30-minute main feature race really brings us, and something that we're going to see that's different in that main race. I've heard whisperings these cars are going to have to come in and make a pit stop. They got to get some fuel in it, Michael.
Indeed they do. They are limited on how much fuel they can carry, just to add a little bit of extra excitement here. When do you pit? Are you in the middle of traffic? Are you trying to overcut, undercut? There's a lot of strategy that goes into how and when to do those pit stops, and how much fuel you take on during those pit stops. Do you take tires? Absolutely not. Anybody takes tires, I would be surprised, probably because they forgot to uncheck a box.
Well, and it also is the great unknown, because everybody, when they say we're going to go do practice for a race, well, you go and do laps. You don't ever practice pit entry. Most of the time you find yourself in a wall reset button and go back out there and do more laps. So whenever we talk about pit stops, there is the great unknown. I consider it a big time variable in terms of a 30-minute race. Who hasn't practiced where that pit lane limiter starts? Who can take advantage of that brake marker, who can't, and ultimately who is going to pay the price with losing out on the track position. And albeit a very empty Sebring parking lot around the back straightaway there, I'm used to seeing a lot more haulers. We do have our official starting grid for our 30-minute feature race. Now, I mentioned it's the 10-car grid invert. Little bit of a curveball here. So your pole sitter, Curtis James, in the number 87 car. Timothy Salvatore is going to be lined up alongside of him on the front row. Then we have Andrew Hardman in third, Zach Buchanan in fourth, Kenny Reedman fifth, Arnaud Genet in sixth, Kevin Norris in seventh, Logan Paxa in eighth, Suelio Almeida in ninth, and your winner from the 15-minute sprint, Ozzy Milwane, in 10th.
On the next row, it's going to be Joey Haynes alongside Siles, and then we have Micah Dern with Diego Zuccarelli, Nick Horvath, and Mike Broomhead on the next row. In P17, Richard Swindells along with Mark Harris. Looks like we're going to have Cedric Ohayon and then Eric Harmon rounding out your top 20.
And I apologize, we'll have to scroll through the names on the screen here as well. The pace car is already rolling down the back straightaway. We still have 41 cars here that we are seeing about to take the green flag. It is Curtis James in the number 87. Looks like his teammate Timothy Salvatore is going to be lined up alongside. Drivers are waiting just a little bit longer. Now we've got the green flag. 3 wide, 4 wide is what we're going to into turn number 1 on the start of this one. Who is going to come out the other end? I even see 5 wide for what is now going to be the 4th place position. Looks like Curtis James still edging out ahead. Andrew Hardman is down on the inside. Arnaud Genet is the 3rd place car as we round turn 3. 5 still side by side for the lead. Andrew Hardman trying to squeeze the throttle down, but it's Curtis James.
Wow, what a start. 4 wide through that first corner. That is almost unheard of, except for every single race I've ever raced here. So, lap 1, turn 1, always exciting in there. And then, we got a spinner right there at the hotel corner. That was our P2 from the last race. That looks like the number 10, Suele Almeida.
Yep. I see Suelio involved in that. I would also see Mike Dorn involved in it. I believe that Ozzy Milwane was caught up in this one as well, just turned sideways all of a sudden. Let's see where the cause of it was. Ooh, I'm not sure. Was that maybe Logan Paxa that went in there? I think he was the only car that is really unliveried.
I'm not sure which one it was. I was trying to decipher and see if I could see a number on there. Here we are from a different angle. Looks like that Texaco branded car right up around there. And
I believe it was. Oh, and there we got more problems here. That's Curtis James, your pole sitter, as well as his teammate Timothy Salvatore. Now this is the replay. Watch Logan Paxa. This is from Almeida's point of view. He is going to get punted from the right side. Just pretty much cleaned out at turn 7. Nothing that Almeida could do right there. You see him trying to get off of the racetrack, but when you got 41 radical cars coming around, it can be a very busy place. And, we didn't see too much chaos in the 15-minute sprint. They saved it all for the opening lap here, Michael.
Honestly, the sprint race is where I expected to see it all. But I've done a number of endurance races here. You kind of find them there too. So not that big of a surprise. Now, if we go take a look here, I want to kind of take a look back out front if we can. We've got Arnaud Genet sitting out at the front of the pack. He and Andrew Hardman are holding on to a pretty nice lead out there. It's about 2.5 seconds, almost 3 seconds back to Haynes. So I think that's going to be a nice place to be. Now, Logan Paxa is sitting there right pretty with Joey Haynes, wanting to get his way through there. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it here on this lap, but it is getting pretty tight up there.
Now, folks, this is the 30-minute race. We have a little bit of time to catch our breath. Just a little bit. I say that as Logan Paxa goes up the inside at turn number 10 and 11 there. Claims what is going to be the 3rd place position. So now he has 2.5 seconds to go chase down Andrew Hardman and Arnaud Genet up the road for the lead. Paxa was definitely one of the fastest competitors we had in the 15-minute race. So I expect him to really go and lay down some stuff. And here's Almeida. He is trying to work his way back up through the field. You see him 22nd position right now. He's actually way far down there. He's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it looks like we got a lot of stuff going on here all through the field. As I look up and down, trying to figure out, where should we guide the cameras to? But there is so much going on in this field, all up and down. We could go back to, 34th position, and that's a tight race. So all through here, I've got Joey Haynes only 0.6 off of Logan Paxa. We just watched the pass, and we got another one around at that same spot, right at the hotel corner.
Yeah, that was the replay of Caden Goodrich there at turn number 7. It is going to be an action zone all day long. So, I mentioned we are in the 30-minute feature here. We do have just a quick minute to actually catch our breath just very, very briefly. And so if you guys are out there on YouTube, we are streaming 1440, 38,000 bitrate. I know DJ Request is behind the scenes loving the pictures that we are putting out there. So if you guys want to see a specific car, if you want to see a specific driver, let us know, and we will try to get over to that battle and bring you these amazing pictures here on Podium Esports. It is still Arnaud Genet leading Andrew Hardman, Logan Paxa in the third place position as the cars stream down the back straightaway, working lap number 3, coming to start lap number 4.
Yeah, as we watch him going around that beautiful turn 17, like I said, all kinds of ways to attack that corner. Good drafting opportunities here too, because you've got all the way down between Le Mans and Sunset there, you've got a great draft. Then you just got to bend the car around that long Sunset bend, and then you've got another bit of a straightaway going down to turn 1, and then another straight, because turn 2 is like a non-turn. Then you get up into where it gets into these twisty bits that we're watching right here. Now that gets a little bit crazy, but think about all that straightaway time that you have. That is so helpful when you're trying to catch someone and they've just got the measure of you. You can sit there in their big giant hole of air they're making and hopefully catch up to them a little bit easier.
Watching onboard shots of Diego Zuccarelli here as they are traveling around Sebring right now. Catch what is the 8th place position, looking forward to 7th place, Nick Horvath just up the road here. This is streaming through some of the back sections, the Sebring International Raceway. And Michael, you have a ton of real world experience around this place. You were saying you couldn't count the concrete sections. When's the last time you walked this racetrack?
About the last time I raced it. Unfortunately, COVID causes problems, and then I had some neck surgery and stuff like that. So probably 2019, and even at that point, I couldn't count them all. The best memory, though, that I have of this racetrack is quite honestly, we'll come back to that. We've got a little bit of a replay here. This is going to be Suelio coming around. Is he gonna get a little bit of contact on a slower car?
And this is through that turns 3, 4, 5 section, a very, very technical area here at Sebring, and you actually have to be very, very careful about where the curbs are as well. They can definitely jump up and bite you.
Indeed they can. And speaking of biting, what I always remember about driving around Sebring during a race is those usually breakfast, but also around dinner time, and sometimes during lunch, you'll get the waft of what's happening in the infield as you go by Tower. So you're right there at Tower Corner. You've just come out. You're really pushing the car hard out of Collier, out of Cunningham and Collier, and then you just get this, oh my God, I'm hungry feeling as you run through there, and you kind of lose a little bit of concentration trying to put the power down as you come out of Tower. Happened to me so many times. So what I started doing was making sure that I had a very full belly when I got in the race car. It added maybe a pound to the overall, and then we split the middle running up into turn 1. Wow, that is quite a move right there.
That was Nathan Medina making it 3 wide. Asad Nakatembev, one of the go-kart kids out here, as well as Michael Broomhead, Jake Cowden, all involved in this one. Believe it really is Jake Cowden, Asad Nakatembev, and Nathan Medina, this 3-car battle, and then Stefan Jeffrey is that blue car that's kind of giving chase right now. If you remember, Asad did not have the best of the 15-minute sprint races. He was turned around exiting turn number 16 there, so I think this is a little bit more representative of what Nakatembev can do on the racetrack. And for everybody out there wondering, he is a go-karter, he is a teenager, and he is flexing some skill out here, always learning on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's up to P13 right now, but really putting in some nice, a kind of a clinic. Everything he's doing, as I've been watching what he's doing here, he's placing the car perfectly. He's not overrunning any of the corners. He's not being over aggressive, just aggressive enough to maybe take the concentration out of the person he's either chasing or who might be on his tail. So I'm actually enjoying watching Nakatembev quite a bit here.
And to let everybody know, we've done 10 minutes here of the 30-minute race. We have had a change for the second place position. Logan Paxa was able to get around Andrew Hardman just about a lap ago. So now it is Logan setting sail, albeit with some front end damage. He's about 1.5 seconds behind the number 1, 2, 3 car. That's Arnaud Genet leading the race. Had a fantastic move to really take that lead and now has been in control here. This is Podium Esports replay here. This is going into the turn 13, that tower turn section, and looks like just a little bit of brake bias caught a driver out there, Michael. You know, if you dial that stuff too far rearward, it can easily lock up.
Indeed it can. You've got to be very careful and monitor it through the race as those tires start to wear down. We are just over 10 minutes into this race, and it's kind of like where they were at the end of the last race. Now, of course, they get brand new tires at the new race. They're not running on those 15-minute-old tires, but you've got to really monitor what's going on. Every time you touch that brake pedal, you need to be aware, so you know if you need to bump it a little to the front, bump it a little to the rear, figure out what you need. Now, I know some people, me included, I think you do this too, where you might go into one corner with it a couple of clicks forward, and then you come to another section, couple of clicks to the rear.
Yeah, you can do that. And I would say that here in this specific series that we're watching with the fixed setups, you are only given a few tools to really kind of play around with inside of the race car. So brake bias is one of the tools right now that the drivers can reach down there and say, you know what, I want a little bit more up front. I want a little bit more in the back to help the car turn maybe a little bit. That is something the drivers can play with, although you can get yourself in trouble quite easily if you dial it just too far rearward or even too far frontward. Your braking distances can actually increase rather than having the car stop shorter. And this is that battle for what is the 5th place position, folks. The first car in line is Nick Horvath. He's leading Ozzy Milwane. We're riding on board with Timothy Salvatore. If Ozzy Milwane sounds familiar, remember, he was the winner of that 15-minute sprint. He finds himself in a great battle here for the top 5.
Yeah, having that little bit of an incident up in the first part of the race, still holding on to a good position. He is in P6 now, really putting it to Nick Horvath. He's about 0.3 off of him. Looks like he's having a little trouble in that mid corner. And this could be exactly what you were talking about with that. Where is the dial set for the brake balance? Where is that bias set? But coming back off the corner, he's looking up the inside, taking a moment back, just breathing a little bit off. He had a little bit of a tire smoke coming out there, tiny bit of a lockup, but look at that, puts that power down really nicely, has some little bit of a draft, but looks like it's going to be covered off. Now we're going to go too wide up to the entry of Cunningham around into Collier as they work their way towards the tower corner. I'm expecting him to try to make another pass attempt as they come out of tower.
And if we want to draw back on our memory, Ozzy Milwane had some great pace. That's why he won the first race. But I think it was all up to his racecraft and really how he got there. See if he can make a pass, get up into the 5th place position. And as we watch this, I actually want to draw to our lead because Logan Paxa has officially caught Arnaud Genet coming around turn number 17. This has been slow and methodical, but here comes a run, and now he punts Arnaud out of the lead. Logan Paxa front to rear contact coming out of turn 17, Sunset Bend. You see Arnaud just go ahead, dive down to pit lane. I don't think that he was meaning to come down to pit lane, but you gotta think Logan might have a talking to after this race here, Michael, after turn 7 on the opening lap, and now here punting the leader out of the way.
A lot of times those opening lap incidents just get kind of brushed off as an opening lap incident. It just happens, but that one could have been a little bit too much aggression. That's not for me to say, but I think the stewards are definitely going to have a look there. But smart move by Arnaud Genet to dive into the pits at that point. That was his best option because he's going to have to go in there, and we are right about at halfway. We're at 15.5 minutes left in this race, so he is at a good point to go ahead and make that dive in and fuel that car back up.
I agree with you. I think make the best out of a bad situation, and that's exactly what Genet did. He was pretty much stopped on the racetrack. You take a look, as Michael was saying, 15 minutes left to go in the race. You'll be able to make it on fuel. Let's go ahead, bring the car in, get that damage fixed with the fast repair if they've got it available to them, and then get back out on the racetrack. And I'm looking at timing and scoring here. It's about 3.5 seconds from Andrew Hardman to Joey Haynes, and then about another 7 seconds from third down to fourth place now. So even though Arno didn't have a very good turn 17, I think that he should still be able to recover, and fingers crossed, he'll still be in the top 5.
Yeah, noticing, just taking a quick look at how long he spent stationary in the box, only 9.2 seconds. He was 32.5-ish seconds from cone to cone. Now you have to add on that little bit of a spin and what happened there as we watch our leader, Logan Paxa, head into the pits. Now we can compare these two side by side almost as we watch what the timing is on Paxa. He's in the pits. He's got a total time to overcome of that 32.6 plus the spin. Now, if there's any type of penalty that's been thrown in here, he might have to serve that as well. But we're going to see what happens right now as he fuels that car up. I don't expect him to stay paused more than about 9 or 10 seconds. Oh, it looks like he's going to take tires. He's up in the air. He is actually taking on tires. That's going to add significantly to his time in the box. So he is passing 22 seconds stationary in the box. That could be him giving himself a little bit of a penalty.
And for everybody out there watching and listening, okay, so in iRacing, you are the crew chief, you are the driver, you are the strategist, you are the spotter. Well, I guess you've got some third-party spotter apps, but it is up to you to make all of these strategy calls on the fly live. How you do that? iRacing gives you a series of black boxes you can scroll through. You can adjust your fuel number. You can adjust if you want tires put on the car. You can adjust if you don't want tires put on the car, fast repairs, all of it, right? So if you are not prepared going into that pit stop, you can come to a stop in your stall, look down and be like, oh, shoot, I forgot that I don't want to take tires, but it automatically has the crew jumping over the wall. And all of a sudden, just like what we saw, you lost a minute of track position.
Yeah, that was a minute 33 cone to cone, 109 stationary. So there may have been a penalty that got thrown in there as well. I tried to take a quick look and see if I could find it. So there might have been, but that could have been a completely full fuel load plus 4 tires and maybe like a power bar and some sports drink or something that went along with that.
Well, if you are fans of Hollywood, you know that it's a chicken sandwich and a phone call at the beginning of Talladega Nights, as we've got the rest of the field really starting to stream down pit lane, do their pit stops. This is Jake Cowden in the 009 Volvo machine. Always interesting to see the different types of liveries that come out here in sim racing. I think it's one of the coolest parts about sim racing. We're always inclusive in everything that goes on, and one of the coolest things is you can design your own paint. As long as you've got some Photoshop skills, you can throw on whatever stickers you want to out there. And evidently this one is made by Volvo, as Andrew Hardman, our leader, still has not pitted. I'm checking time and scoring. It seems like we've got about 15 cars still to pit here, and I think there's a couple of varying different strategies. Now, in iRacing, the lower you run that fuel amount, the lighter the car becomes. The lighter the race car, the faster you go. So oftentimes what drivers will do is they will run the thing completely dry and then come down and fill up the tank. A lot of other times, to make the strategy easy, once you make it halfway, just come in, do your pit stop. You'll be good to make it the other half.
Yeah, and right now, if I'm doing some quick math in my head, which is never a good idea, but Arnaud Genet, currently in P9, our former leader, which we saw on that spin, he had a 33 second cone to cone. He is currently 42.5 seconds behind Andrew Hardman, our leader. So with the slowing down and then coming out of pit lane, because because we have a cone to cone time doesn't accurately reflect the entirety of the cost of time doing that pit stop. So this could get pretty tight. I think Andrew Hardman might have a pretty hard race on his hands when Arnaud Genet starts coming back around.
And really, Arnaud has his hands full because he's got Ozzy Milwain directly behind him. This is Genet and Milwain that we are talking about right now, going down the back straightaway. Milwain with a tremendous draft, going to poke out to the left side. Not going to go the long way around turn 17 here, but I think he's really kind of aiming to get the momentum down the front straightaway. See if he can pull some sort of over-under. He's got a tremendous run. Now he looks out, driver's left. He's got the track position going down into turn number 1. He has got that position away from Arnaud Genet. So move Ozzy Milwain up one more position. And the cars that streamed out directly in front, I see that Timothy Salvatore, Joey Haynes, and Andrew Hardman. So our entire top 5, and I'm actually going through the entire screen right now, all of the competitors have now come down pit road.
Yeah, good timing. It's right at the midpoint of this race, about the right time for everybody to get there. But like you said, run it to the absolute last drop if you can. You want that car to be as light as possible. Remember, fuel, for a gallon of fuel, it's going to weigh about 6 pounds. It's right in that neighborhood. So that 6 pounds really matters, especially in iRacing. I mean, 6 pounds doesn't seem like a lot, but that's fuel that's kind of moving around, and you really don't want that weight to move around much in the car. You want to be in control of that by how you're turning the wheel, how you're applying the pedals. But let's take a look at this replay here.
This is of Matthew Mailman, the number 62 car. Let's see what happens on exit here. It's 99 going up the inside here, and I think that Matthew just kind of went a little bit wide on the pit exit there, which might have even triggered an off track for us. But it looks like everything is up and running okay with the number 62 car. So he stays out on the racetrack and is actually being passed by our lead group right now. Ozzy Milwain has caught Timothy Salvatore directly right in front going into turn 17. He makes the pass late on the brakes and he brings Arnaud Genet with him. So from way downtown, as NBA Jam calls it, Arnaud Genet up into the 4th place position after leading so many laps. But I think the big mover, definitely Ozzy Milwain. Unfortunately, I think he has got too big of a mountain to climb to go up and catch 2nd place. He does have 1 foot on the podium, though.
Yeah, being there in P3, that is that last podium spot, and I don't care which spot at the podium you are on, they are all amazing to be on. So, but if we look at where he is right now, he's got just under 7 seconds between him and Joey Haynes. Joey kind of out in the middle of nowhere with a 4-second gap up to Andrew Hardman. Now Andrew Hardman is like, I'm loving this race too because I got nobody around me. The only thing he has to worry about is maybe some lap traffic here and there.
I think Andrew Hardman was kind of sneaky with his 15-minute sprint race finish because he started this race in 3rd. And really, ever since he got up front after that incident between Logan and Arnaud, he has just put his foot down and said goodbye to everybody else. As we check in on another replay here, this is Asad Nakadambev. This is going into turn number 10. So easy to get this wrong. You see it all the time. It is deceptively fast how big that brake zone is going into turn 10.
Yeah, and then that return to track was a little bit sketchy. He almost got in front of somebody, but it looks like everybody got clear of that, so no major issues. Now there is our hot shoe. That's going to be that Texaco car, Suelio, once again trying to work his way back up through the field and just not having quite the race he did last time.
He was able to get by Nathan Medina right there for 11th, and I just don't think he's going to be able to crack the top 10. Just way too far. 8 seconds he's got before he reaches Diego Zuccarelli up there in the 10th place position. This is another replay in that same exact corner, turn number 10 here. The number 23 car. Oh, just too happy on that throttle there. That was Kenny Brown turning it around, and then you got to be really careful. Those tires in iRacing, they like to overheat, so getting the car back going the right direction, actually a little bit trickier than what it looks like sometimes. And
I find it easier in real life to do that, honestly. I can never do it in iRacing. Real life, though, I can just pop it, I can get the car around and know exactly how much to give it, and boom, I'm back off on the right racing line.
Actually, I want to draw our eye to what is the 15th place position as Andrew Hardman continues to do laps. Now, this 15th place is a couple drivers we haven't talked about much. Sean Duhamel, Matthew Howard, Cedric Ohayon. They are all locked in this battle for what will be the 15th place position.
Yeah, these three have been kind of a train here for a little bit. Looks like I'm going to say Duhamel is taking a little bit cautious time on those brakes. He doesn't want to overrun that brake. But back here in 17th with Cedric, he wants to close it up. He's watching what's going on. He sees the overlap potential right up in front of him. And then, oh, they go too wide. How is he going to position the car? Does he want to come back around? Can he hold on to this? Looks like he is going to hold on to it, just barely coming up into the next corner. He holds up the inside, but does not want to push it too hard as they go through tower, puts the power down, and now we have basically a reversal of at least 2 spots there.
Well, and if you look directly behind this battle right here, Sean Duhamel, Joseph Yang, and Zippy, they are joining the party. So we have now got 5 cars. This was actually the battle that I wanted to highlight next. Joseph Yang has gotten around Daniel Salmon just a couple laps ago, but Zippy, as we call it, is the caboose on the train here. This is all a great race with about 3.5 minutes remaining. Getting these onboard shots from Zippy.
I think we should talk to Zippy right while he's in the middle of turn 17, just to see how he's doing.
If you want to bring him in here, Zippy, how much can we distract you? Can you go up here and pass some people?
That would be really good, Joey. Honestly, I've been driving, I think a blind grandma would have had more success at this rate, but I'm trying to get on the bumper of Joseph Yang at the minute. I see nothing but free candy ahead of me, but the problem is with free candy, there's a catch involved.
You have to get into the van?
Yeah, and at the minute, I could just stand by the window and I'm even not, it's just not enough for him.
Well, Zippy, it's because you got that Marilyn Monroe fan blowing your hair all over the place. You just look so dreamy out there, but look at it, this side by side in front of you. Are you going to go up there and catch him?
I have best intentions. I'm going to give it like that. I might have to do a send. The draft, honestly, Joey, the draft is huge with this setup right now. Absolutely huge.
Well, we'll let you go. We'll let you concentrate. Don't lick the stamp too hard and send it. Remember, everybody out there is still doing it, even though you've got your tongue out. Good luck on those positions, Zippy.
Thanks, Joey. Thank you.
Well, that was Daniel Salmon running around in 19th place position right now. And honestly, Michael, I think that we kind of distracted him a little bit. He's fallen off the pace just a touch.
Yeah, but you know what? He's saying how big that draft is, which we commented on earlier. I think he's going to actually be able to close that up. Now, not to offer too much of a guidance to anyone, but since he's a friend, of course, give him a few tips here and there. And watching him go through that section, he was doing exactly what we were telling him earlier on. Like, look, you want to attack that curve, you want to climb up all over that, you need to set the car here, watch out too much yaw. And he's applying everything we told him.
Looking down to the inside now. If you look up at the lap remaining timer, I know that it says 1.5 minutes, but our leader went by with 2 minutes plus. So these cars, they still have an entire 2 laps to go here. So we're going to get a fantastic battle as we still watch Zippy battling it out through turn number 1 there. And the other one that I'm pretty surprised about, Arnaud Genet has closed it back up on Ozzy Milwane, and with only about 1.5 laps remaining, the battle for the final podium spot is definitely on. They are rounding turn number 10 right now. You can also consider Timothy Salvatore in this mix, but I think really the story, Michael, Arnaud Genet, who got moved out of the lead. Oh, and now he has a big lockup, runs off the track, loses a little bit of position, but I was going to say he is the big story if he can get back on the podium.
Yeah, he's got a whole big mirror full of Timothy Salvatore right now. He needs to start getting back into the groove and pull away, get back up there to where Ozzy Milwane is. But that is a tall order. Ozzy is one quick driver. Not to take anything away from Arnaud, because he is quite good himself. Just took a peek at his iRating. It's around 4,400. That's nothing to sneeze at. So if anybody can do it in that little group right there, I think Arnaud should be able to catch up to him. But with the show Ozzy put on last time, that may be easier said than done.
Our leader, Andrew Hardman, has officially taken the white flag. You see him streaming down into the turn 3, 4, 5 complex here at Sebring International Raceway. I think this one has really kind of been gifted to Andrew Hardman. He had his hands full in the first few laps, but then ultimately it was Logan Paxa and Arnaud Genet that came into contact coming out of turn number 17. So Andrew Hardman has just been able to go out there and turn laps, and this is that battle a little bit further back. This is Arnaud Genet. He is in the 5th place position because look at that, Timothy Salvatore made the move.
He was able to get around him. A little bit of a mistake from Andrew Hardman. Salvatore was able to close that up, but look at this. He has closed this back up. He wants to make this blast down these straightaways and hopefully get back up side by side and hopefully around Timothy Salvatore. But again, that is a tall order. We have some incredible top-notch drivers here.
Looks like Andrew Hardman is just on cruise control. If you check the timing board, about 4 seconds between himself and Joey Haynes. All he's got to do is maneuver through these last few corners here.
We've got to spin. Genet just went around.
Oh, so unfortunate for Arnaud there. Looks like he has pointed back the right direction, which is great as Andrew Hardman goes down the back straightaway here. He's going to be getting on the brakes, down a couple gears, and over the bumps of Sunset Bend for the final time here at Sebring. Andrew Hardman looks up. Barney waves the checkered flag. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, the number 3 car.
Meanwhile, Joey Haynes working his way down the track just across the start finish to take P2. Ozzy Milwane, now that he's got a little bit of free air and no Arnaud Genet right on his tail, able to take P3.
Watch the rest of these cars as they stream out of Sunset Bend up over these concrete blocks at Sebring International Raceway. We're going to get a replay of exactly what happened to Arnaud Genet. This is coming into what is the tower turn. This is where he had the problem on the same corner the lap before, this time just too aggressive with that throttle pedal, spun him around. You could tell that he was up on it, just trying to get every last little bit out of it that he could. I see Dave Peterson chasing Logan Paxa for the 21st position, but the rest of the cars are going to be streaming across start-finish line. Michael, we just saw 15 minutes plus 30. Were you expecting the 30-minute to be the more chaotic of the two?
Absolutely not. Chaos was totally going to be there. Now let's take a look at Zippy here, having a little fun at the end of the race. Goes around in 17, does a nice little pirouette. Now, it's time for some donuts, I think. Yeah, donuts. That's what goes nice at the end of a race. Doesn't matter if you're first or last or somewhere in between. Donuts are always a good thing at the racetrack.
Man, you know, maybe he just got lost and couldn't figure which way was which out there at turn 17. And what we're going to do is take a quick break, be right back with your official results and post-race interviews.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Why Radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships. We create champions. We make racers.
Welcome back to Podium Esports' coverage of the BiS Radical Cup Canada Series. We just saw a sprint 15-minute race and a 30-minute feature here at Sebring International Raceway. Ultimately, it was Andrew Hardman that stands on the top step of the podium in your main feature. Joey Haynes in second place. Ozzy Milwain, a fantastic night of racing for Mr. Milwain. After winning the 15-minute sprint, he also finds himself third place here in the feature. Timothy Salvatore in fourth, Nick Horvath rounding out the top five. Jake Cowden in sixth, Arnaud Genet in seventh, Michael Broomhead in eighth, Suelio Almeida in ninth, and Diego Zuccarelli rounding out your top 10.
In P11, John Benwilade with Eric Hartman right behind him in a fierce battle with Nathan Medina. Stephen Jeffrey takes up your next spot with Matthew Howard right behind there. Ohayan in a good battle there with Yang and Duhamel running up through the end. Duhamel fell off a little bit. Buchanan right behind there. And then our really great performer through most of this race had an unfortunate pit stop, would be in 20th place, Paxa.
21st place, we have Dave Peterson. 22nd, Micah Dorn. Then we have Asad Nakanobev in 23rd. Mark Harris is going to be in 24th. Robert Covey, 25th. Daniel Salmon, Zippy, 26th after doing the donuts there in turn 17. Kenny Brown in 27th. Richard Swindells in 28th. Kevin Norris in 29th. And James Carter in 30th.
In 31st, Shane Morrison, right behind him with it would be Caden Goodrich. Phil Amaro in your next spot. 34th, Matthew Melman, and then Scott Better coming up next. Curtis James behind him. And then we had a couple laps down from there, Dante and Kiepe, and then Kenny Reedman, Eugene Cartini, and then 40th would be Chris Stiles, 41st, 42nd, Mark Boyd, and I think we had a DNS for Heartland there on the last one.
Looks like we've got some drivers that are going to be joining us for some post-race interviews. I want to bring in our third place finisher, Ozzy Milwain, not only third place here in the feature, but our sprint winner. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks guys. That was really surprising, to be honest. I took a little bit of time off sim racing and came back in tonight, dusted the rig off, and it was nice to come out with a win.
Well, that is extremely nice. That's got to feel pretty good about it all. Let's talk about your sprint race win first. It seemed like you were just kind of hanging out in the third and fourth place position for the most part, and then used some amazing racecraft to get you to the lead.
Yeah, I made a few mistakes on cold tires. I locked up a couple times and I lost them. And then luckily enough, they started battling, and we all kind of tightened up after that, and it was actually really fun.
The I should say the main was a little bit of a different story. Turn 7 was a bit chaotic out there. Talk me through what you saw.
Just people, cars everywhere. And I don't know, I just tried to take it slow. Cars were crisscrossing everywhere. I made contact, and I actually got a bit of damage, so I was racing with damage all race. But I don't think it affected me too much. But yeah, it was chaos that first lap.
Well, congrats on the double podium effort here tonight. A great night of racing. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just the team for coming together, and Mike Broomhead for putting this on, and then you guys in the broadcast booth. Appreciate it.
Well, that was Ozzy Milwayne, driver of the number 14 car. He was your sprint winner and then ultimately third place in the main feature race. And now it looks like Michael Johnson is standing by with second place finisher Joey Haynes.
Indeed, I am, Joey. That was an interesting race for you. It was almost boring, I would guess, at the end because you had several seconds in front, several seconds at the back. But the start of the race, you started P11, had some interesting times going through that 3-4-5 complex, and then suddenly you end up in second place. Can you talk me through how that worked?
I'm going to try to, but to be honest, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Kind of magic. It was racer magic. You sprinkled some dust out there and it just fell together.
Well, at one point I phased through someone in the hairpin, and I was kind of like, I don't know what just happened, but I'm thankful because otherwise I'd be out right now. And then, yeah, earlier on in the lap, there was guys just spinning in front of me, and I'm just doing everything I can to avoid all the chaos. And I mean, it seems to happen with these Sebring Radical races. The first, 5-6 corners are just pretty wild. And yeah, don't know how I found myself at P2 at the end of the first lap, but it was something else, that's for sure.
Well, it's quite a feat to go from P11 to P2 in half a lap, essentially. I mean, that's how quick you got there. You came around and we were looking going, wait, how did Joey Haynes get up there? Wow, great drive. So did you find the 15-minute sprint race to be more hectic, or did you find this race to be more hectic?
Definitely the sprint. The sprint, I had guys kind of all over me the entire time, and just it's so hard with these cars because the natural way to drive them fast is to back the corners up and really, make sure you're not carrying too much speed on entry. And when you've got everyone attacking, you're just like trying to go a little bit deeper into the corners to prevent those dive bomb moves, and it gets tough. It gets really tough.
Yeah, so race 2, the feature race, I think you had about 3.94 seconds in front and something like I want to say 11 behind you, roughly. It was a lot. So was it more of a cakewalk on that second race?
Honestly, I was just trying to bring it home at that point. I got damage on the first lap. I'm not exactly sure where, but when I made my pit stop, I had 30 seconds of optionals, and I didn't take them, but just kind of had to make the best of it. And I definitely didn't have quite the pace that I was looking for, but I just tried to be as consistent as possible and bring it home.
Well, you did bring it home. Second step of the podium. Beautiful job. Nice race. Who do you have to thank for today's P2?
I mean, got to thank everyone at Evolve, Nate and Ozzy, everyone's doing a great job. Thank Mike for putting on this great series. It's fantastic, having a blast. The Radical car is amazing. And of course, you guys for putting on a great broadcast every time.
Well, thank you. That was Joey Haynes, our second place finisher here in the feature race. And I believe Joey has our race winner lined up to talk to us with Andrew Hardman.
Mr. Hardman, congratulations on claiming the checkered flag here, the 30-minute feature at Sebring.
Thank you. Yeah, this is definitely an unexpected one for me. I was feeling like I was nowhere in practice and qualifying, so just able to capitalize on mistakes, takeouts, crashes, and just keep it clean and come home with a win. It was awesome.
It does kind of seem like you had a little bit of a boring race, although you're standing on top, so you can't complain too much out there. Maybe looking forward to go up there and battle with those guys on pace, is there something that you turn to yourself that you want to practice with?
I think it's getting more practice. Yeah, I think this week I was underprepared, and it showed. So definitely making that little bit of a jump to get up to the top guys. It's close. With the draft, it seems to help a lot, and this car is super sensitive with the draft. So if I can get in that lead group and make some moves, then certainly I can be there up on pace. But I'll take the win. Never going to say no to that. But in the future, yeah, more pace is necessary.
It's always good to grab whatever points you can. And then looking into the future of this schedule here, there's lots of different types of racetrack. There's Coda, Laguna Seca, Watkins Glen, much more flowing, Atlanta, really fast. Is there anything that you're looking forward to racing here?
I think all of it. I mean, it's been a blast so far this season. The Mosport race was a bit of chaos. This one was a little bit less chaos, but both really, really fun racing with all sorts of drivers with all sorts of experience levels. So really good to see that, and I'm looking forward to everything come what may.
Well, while we've got you here, the floor is yours. Anybody you want to thank?
Well, I'd say Mike Broomhead. He's put on an amazing league. He's organized it very well. He's got everything together the way it needs to be. He's got Radical involved and come up with an awesome prize for the end of the year for the winners. So I think we're all gunning for that with the Radical experience, they call it, where we'll be able to drive a real Radical car, which will be an amazing experience for just a humble sim racer. So Mike's done an amazing job. And then all of the sort of the teammates I've had over the years, like Joey and Ozzy are two of my teammates from the Evolve team, and they had a really good race tonight as well. So kudos to them, and sorry to Joey for hitting him in the sprint race. That was not very good. But yeah, thanks guys for putting on a great broadcast. I'll be sure to watch it back.
Well, tremendous job, and that was the driver, your winner tonight, Andrew Hardman. Well, that's going to pretty much do it here tonight on Podium Esports. Remember, we still have the entire 6 races remaining, only 2 rounds done. We head off to Donington next time out, just after New Year's, so a little bit of a break here in the Radical Cup Canada Series, and then you see the awesome schedule that we got lined up for the rest of the season. So trust me, if you like the little open wheelers, if you like the open cockpit sports prototypes, we've got you covered. Also, want to thank all of our partners, Radical Canada, M-Zone, Fell Motorsports, Advanced Sim Racing, and Advanced Motorsport. And remember that Donington Park date is just January 3rd, just after the new year. Thanks to everybody at Podium Esports, as well as Radical Cup Canada, for all of their support, and the entire team behind the scenes today. DJ, Michael, and Ryan Bauer. Remember, follow along on the Podium Esports social channels to stay up to date with everything racing and all of the upcoming shows, including Monday Night Racing and the Sunoco Winter Series. Catch us right here in the same spot for more of the BiS Racing Series. Until next time, I'll see you at the checkered flag.